Hello friends, welcome to Shauna Stitches. I'm Shauna and this is a special vlog all about the week 1 clue for the Stephen West surprise sock along called Delectable Collectible. Today is July the 28th. No, it's July the 29th. I don't even know what day it is. That's how early it is. It's 4:37 in the morning. I'm just waking up, but I have my first clue downloaded and ready to go. I haven't looked at all beyond that first page, but I did see in the email that Stephen mentions that we're going to be using all 5 colors pretty evenly. And he says to start with your favorite color. And we're going to be using all 5 colors in the first clue. So there are my colors. It's so hard to tell. This top one here is purple. That one's blue. I think I'll be starting with pink because pink is my favorite. I have been wondering what needle to use, and actually I think I have the wrong ones here. Yes, these are 2.25. Somewhere right over there I think I have my 2.5s. I think I'm actually going to cast on with a 2.5 millimeter this time because Stephen's sock gauge lists 32 stitches and 50 rows for his gauge over 4 inches, and my normal 2.25 millimeter sock gauge is about 40 stitches and 52 rows. So I know that going up to a 2.5 millimeter is not going to get me 32 stitches, but I normally knit a 64 stitch sock on a 2.25 millimeter with my 40 stitch gauge, and it fits my foot. So I'm hoping that 2.5 is enough. I really don't want to go up to a 2.75. That's what I ended up having to do last year on the leg. And I'm just really hoping that this year that I don't end up doing a bunch of frogging, because last year I had to frog and reknit things so many times just to get them to fit. I'm expecting that we're going to have an unusual sock construction, but I'm hoping that it is not so unusual that it makes for a difficult fit. But anyway, fingers crossed, I'm diving in. I do work today, and of course my boss decided to schedule a work meeting after work. So I don't know how much of the sock I'm going to get done today. But I am going to go ahead and start, get cast on, and see how far I can get before I have to go to work today. And for sure I will show you where I'm at as I'm about to leave, and if anything interesting comes up, I will check in with you. So if you're casting on, if you've already cast on, if I am keeping you company while you're knitting away, I hope that it's going well for you. How are you liking your colors? And let's start knitting. I will see you soon. I'm back with my first Delectable Collectible update, and I'm happy to say I think it's going well so far. This is what the cuff is looking like. So it is a, hold on, let me fix my light here. It is a twisted rib, 1 by 1, nice and easy. And I was very happy to see that we're casting on in the round, because last year it was a flat sock, knit flat, and it was just so difficult. So one of my biggest gripes about Stephen West sock patterns is that my normal stitch count is 64 stitches. I know that it fits, I know what needle to use, and for some reason he only makes his patterns at a 60 stitch or a 72 stitch. Now there's other sizes on both sides of those, but for my size, I would fall somewhere between 60 and 72, and that's a huge 12 stitch gap, where normally most socks have 4 to 8 stitches, usually 8, between the sizes. And so it just makes it really difficult to know what size to cast on. And I wish he would change that. But Stephen doesn't listen to me, so I don't think it's going to change. So anyway, I'm doing the 60 stitch on the 2.5 millimeter needle. This is the entire cuff. He has 15 rounds. But I think I'm going to go ahead and do another 5, just because I know that I like a 20 round cuff, and I did watch part of the video. I don't know why I didn't need to watch this part of the video, but he does say, like, if you want a shorter sock, then do less rounds. So I'm assuming that means if I want a longer sock, I can do more rounds. he also mentioned, like, if there's any techniques that are just too difficult for you or that you don't want to do, you can just substitute something easier. My plan is to continue to do what's in the pattern because I like to challenge myself and I do think that's fun. That being said, the next technique after I finish the cuff is a color work technique. I won't spoil it yet, but I know for color work socks in the past, I have used a 2.75 millimeter needle, again on 64 stitches, so I'm hoping that that's still going to work, but I am going to use a 2.75 for the color work portion or portions because there may be more coming up. So anyway, I'm going to finish another 5 rounds, go grab that needle if I still have time. I'm not sure that I will though. It's currently 5:41 a.m. and my alarm that alerts me it's time to leave for work goes off at about 6:10. So I'm going to do the next 5 rounds and see if I can do that before I have to leave. Okay, that didn't take too long. There is my 20 round cuff. I just think that looks more like a cuff. The other one was just so short. And I went and grabbed my 2.75 millimeter needle, Chiagu 9-inch circulars. I'm very happy that so far I can use my 9-inch circulars. And I'm going to get started on the next section, but just barely because I don't have a ton of time. It's exactly 6 a.m. right now. I have 10 minutes. I don't know if I'll even I should get a round done. So the next section is a Latvian braid, which I have done once before in a Stephen West pattern. And then I did a modified or a alternate option to a Latvian braid in the Do You Yoke 2 sweater that I knit earlier this year. Or was it the end of last year? Anyway, recently. So I will get started on that and I will check in with you just before I leave for work. Okay, my alarm for work has gone off and I really just want to sit here and knit all day. My sock mojo has been completely lacking, and so I don't know, maybe it's getting a little spark because I'm not hating this, which is nice. There is the start of the Latvian braid. It's very hard to see at this point just because it's not really formed, but that section right there is the start of the Latvian braid. I'm technically on round 2. I haven't finished round 2. So that's of round 2 of the Latvian braid section. So I guess whenever I get home today, after I eat dinner, I will work on this some more and I will check in with you as always. Until then, I hope you're having a great day and I will see you soon. Good evening, friends. It's many, many, many hours later. It is 6:20 p.m. and it's been a day and it continues to be a day because we have a tsunami watch going on. There was a very large earthquake in Russia somewhere. I cannot pronounce the name and I couldn't even take a stab at it if I wanted to. But it was 8.7 and I am on the Oregon coast. And when an earthquake happens like that, that means that we are under the potential for a large tsunami. If you do not know, a tsunami is when the ocean swells and it can produce some very large waves and it can really endanger public and homes and all kinds of things. So I'm a little on edge about that because not only do I need to worry about myself and my dogs, I would also have to go to the town that I work in, which is also along the coast, to pick up my mom who does not drive. So if it happens, it's supposed to be sometime around 11 something p.m. And of course, they're watching things. There's buoys out in the ocean that track these things. They're supposed to be able to tell if the ocean's surging and all kinds of things. But I am just trying to see if I need to start making any moves to evacuate. Because if I do, I need to do it sooner rather than later. Because like I said, I have to go get my mom and then get us to higher ground. And I know that sounds like I have plenty of time, 6 something p.m. to 11, but with the mass exodus that happens when things like that happen, it'll just be a complete traffic jam. So I am hanging on for 7 p.m. There's supposed to be some kind of update maybe by then and to see what I need to do. So I'm going to try and distract myself a little bit I should really be packing up some stuff is what I should be doing. A lot of people that live around here, they have their to-go, go bags where they just have stuff packed. I do not. I should. Maybe this is my life lesson to have something like that. But yeah, I'll have to grab dog food and all kinds of things. So anyway, let me show you my sock progress. There it is. I did finish the Latvian braid, and I think it looks pretty good. Super hard to see, and I know I feel like the lighting's terrible, but this is the dark purple, and in the braid is the dark blue. It's so hard to tell the two apart. So I'm going to see what's next and keep watching the weather updates to see if I need to get the heck out of town. So I'll give you an update if and when I can. Oh boy, what a night. And isn't my lighting coming in through my sliding glass door so lovely? So our tsunami watch has been upgraded to a tsunami advisory. That's not a good thing. That means it's going in the opposite direction we want it to. And I just got notified that if it gets upgraded at all anymore, that I will be called into work. And that leaves me with the dilemma of what do I do with my dogs, because my husband is at work. My home is in the tsunami zone. My work is in the tsunami zone, because I would just bring my dogs to work if I knew it was safe or safer. So yeah, I'm a little bit stressed out to say the least. Yeah, it is currently 7:22 p.m. and because I need a good distraction, I'm working on my sock. So I'm on the droplet section. I have to probably watch the video for the next part because I'm really not sure what happens next. Yeah, I don't like it. The sock, not the sock. The sock is fine. Just current events are stressing me out. So, yep, I'm going to keep working on my sock. I will give an update if there is one. I'm back with an update. First, the tsunami update is that they're saying that we're going to get swells between 1 and 3 feet, which I don't quite know exactly what that means, because I don't believe it means that it's just going to come like 1 to 3 feet further up the beach. I think it means more than that, because little fun fact, history fact, I was in the Navy a very long time ago, and my ship was off the coast of Sumatra when there was a large earthquake that causes tsunami there. And I'm just going by memory. I could be really wrong, but I feel like those were 12 feet waves, and whatever, it was like 12 feet, like a building, like it was huge, and it decimated the area. So, I mean, it's just hard to know exactly. But for a sock update, I should have updated you a little sooner. I just kind of was like in a groove and distracting myself. But there we go. The purple, the lavender right there, that is the droplet section. And I will say that the choice of tweed for this was probably not the best choice. It just makes it a little bit harder to see things. But it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. And so then the pink, which is my color A, is a start of the bubbles section. And so these sections aren't numbered, so I'm not sure. Let's see. Well, cuff, if the cuff is 1, 2, 3, this is section 4, I guess. I'm a little bit annoyed that Steven said to use your whatever color A, use it as your favorite. Maybe it's going to play a bigger portion later, but so far there's just not a lot of pink in there, and it is my favorite. So, yep, I'm going to continue on with the bubbles, which I'm going to be bringing my color B back in. And eventually I have to make the decision if I keep staying up or if I just go to bed and hope for the best. It's currently 8:15. I normally get up at 4 in the morning, so like by now I am like brushing my teeth and definitely getting ready for bed. So I just feel like I can't quite do that yet. So I'm gonna do some bubbles. I'm back with, I think, my final update for the day, unless things get even more crazier than they already have. But I finished the, was it bubble section? bubbles, yeah, with the pink and then the purple. And I finished page 3, which is the first page of sock instructions. I finished that page, so I'm on to page 4, which means I'm making some progress. There's 2 more pages to go, so it's going to be a lot. And I have so many ends to weave in. Let me just show you the inside. I am not doing weave and Steven. It's not my favorite technique. So I will be hand weaving all of these ends in. I just think it does a much better job, and it helps ensure that you don't have any holes, because when I've done weave and Steven, I do get holes. So that's where I'm leaving off. I have decided I'm going to try to go to sleep. Of course, I will leave all my phones on in case I need to get called in or anything like that. But maybe I can at least get a little bit of sleep if that happens. And if not, I still have to function tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be another very long day, unless we have a tsunami, which it's going to be an even longer day. But I will get up at 4 in the morning, which, by the way, it's almost 9 p.m. So it's getting late, especially for 4 a.m. So I'll get up, do that, and I'll go to the gym, and then I'll rush home, and I will get ready, and then I will head to work, and I'm picking up a coworker, and we are heading about 2 hours away from where I work to go to training. And normally I'm off work around 3 p.m., but my training doesn't get over till 5, and then it's a 2-hour drive home. So I probably won't be home till like 7 p.m. tomorrow, and there's not going to be really any time for knitting at all, because I will be so tired from today and of course tomorrow. So this is the worst week ever for a sock pattern to come out. I'm trying to knit it as fast as I can, and you know, it's not going fast, but that's okay. I am enjoying it so far this year. I have not checked to make sure it's going to fit over my foot and my leg, but it seems pretty stretchy. My Latvian braid going up to a 2.75 seems real nice and stretchy, so fingers crossed it's going to fit. And on that note, I'm going to go get ready for bed. I will probably talk to you very briefly in the morning if my morning is a normal morning. If I get called into work, probably not. So I'll talk to you. Good morning, bright and early. It's 4:23 a.m. It's too stinking early, especially when I went to bed late. But the good news is that we didn't get evacuated, and I didn't get called into work. So those are both really good things. As you can probably tell, I'm in my tank top. I'm ready to go to the gym this morning, even though I'd rather be sleeping, but priorities, I guess. This morning we are starting with my color C, which is gray, and we're going to be doing a section called the baubles, and I have about 15 minutes, so I don't expect to get very far. But that's okay, because a little bit of progress is still progress. All right, a super quick update before I run out the door. I knit 4 rounds of stockinette, that's the gray, and I started the bauble section. It's not called the baubles, it's called tiny baubles. I cannot read first thing in the morning. So, yes, I've only done or completed, yeah, forget it, you can't see it. I've only completed 2 of the tiny baubles, and involves purling 3, so that's a chore, but it's very short round, so shouldn't be a big deal. It really does curl up quite a lot, so it's hard to see. But I am off to the gym. I'm chugging my coffee down, which I'm not going to get it finished, but then I'm off to training, so I'm not going to see you for a long time, maybe not till tomorrow. I did forget to say that today is July 30th. So I will see you when I see you. I'm back. I made it back from my training about an hour sooner than I thought I was going to, which is great. I'm so tired. I just picked this up a little bit ago, and I did finish the tiny baubles, which you see, those are the dark blue sections. Those were not easy to purl 3 together. That took me a while, and also like my finger that I push against is hurting, so that slowed me down even more. I am just about to start the brioche, so that will be these two colors. There's not a ton of contrast, so I'm hoping that they show up okay. I feel like they're not even looking very good on the screen, but hopefully they'll look better in the sock. So that's my plan. I don't know how big the brioche section is, if I will get done with that tonight or not. It is 6:38, so I'm gonna guess I'm not gonna get done with it. I'm super tired. I'm definitely going to bed. I say early, but it's my normal time, so I'm not staying up late tonight. As far as I know, there was no damage from the tsunami threat, so that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm very happy with how that came out for us. I did see that there were tsunamis in Russia. I'm not sure about other places, and they did do damage there, so that sucks, but yeah, I am thankful very much that it didn't affect us here. Anyway, I'm going to knit on this, and I will check in with you before I'm ready to hit the hay and show you how far I get on brioche. I'm back with my last update for today, which is Wednesday, July 30th. I did finish the brioche section, and the next section I'm about to start is called slip stitch dashes. So I will work on that tomorrow. I'm actually quite surprised I finished the brioche tonight, but it wasn't very many rounds and it wasn't too hard, so I will work on this tomorrow. I feel like normally I make so much more progress faster than this, and it's a bit frustrating, but with everything going on, I guess it is what it is. I have seen spoilers, but I will tell you, this sock is so busy that when I've seen it on my screen, I just scroll away so quick that I honestly have no clue what's coming next at all. And I've enjoyed just letting it kind of happen, and none of the techniques are overly difficult so far, so that is a pleasant surprise. And thank you for Stephen for not making it a difficult construction yet. I say that because who knows what's coming next, and things could change. Anyway, I'm going to leave you, and I will see you tomorrow. Hello and good morning. It is July 31st, and it is 4:53. I've already been knitting a little bit this morning. There are my slip stitch dashes right there above my finger, and I've just started a section called reverse stockinette, and I'm using color D, which is dark blue. And I had a thought this morning. I'm sure you all have seen Stephen West's cover image, and he has a lot of those little licorice candies, the round ones, or I guess some of them are square too, but they're like layered. This definitely reminds me of those licorice candies. So I think that must have been a clue. You never really know. But yep, there we are. Look at all these ends. You can't even see them all. It's a lot. I'm thinking maybe I should have done the weave-in Stephen, but we'll see when I get to the end weaving in, because like I said, it just leaves holes and gaps, but it's a lot. So maybe on the second sock, I'll try weave-in Stephen, and I can compare the two and see if I really still think weaving them in one by one is the right option, or doing it as I go. So I'm going to do some work on my sock, and I will check in with you soon. All right, here's a little update. So I did the reverse stockinette, that's the blue, and then I did the fur rib dip stitch, that's the purple. And Stephen has I think it's fur rib socks or something. I don't know if it's the exact same stitch. I do have the pattern. I've been tempted to knit the pattern, and now I don't know that I am, because that was not easy. I'm wondering if part of my struggle was the fact that I am on 9-inch circulars, but so essentially it has a stitch that ends up like this, and then there's stitches in the middle. This second V leg was so hard to knit because you have to go backwards like this and then go into the fabric and knit another stitch. It was not easy. I'm very thankful that these rounds are so short, because if that was like on a shawl, if this was a shawl pattern, oh my gosh, that would be really long. So I am to the point in the pattern where Stephen says we have the option of knitting a short leg, so we would stop the leg here, or a long leg. And we all know that I like a tall sock. So of course I'm going to go for the long leg. But he makes a note about how he knit the size 3, so 72 stitches, and that he has a US 13 foot. So he did knit the long leg, and he says he had no yarn left. And I find that to be kind of surprising, because I wish I knew how many rounds we had done so far. Because when I knit a sock for my husband, I do 72 stitches, and I usually do a 20 round cuff, and then like a 50 round leg, followed by a US men's 13 foot. And that usually uses like 80 to 85 grams of yarn. So we're starting with 100 grams, which would mean I just don't know how we could use that much more yarn. Granted, we do have a lot of yarn wasted in the ends, which I would have whether I'm doing the weaving in method or the weave in Stephen. You would still have ends. So that eats up a bit of yarn, but I don't think it eats up 20 grams of yarn. And then some of these stitches do eat up more yarn too. So I don't know. I'm going to go for the long leg. He says if you knit a size 1 or 2 that you should be absolutely fine with yarn. Worst case scenario, I end up with a weird colored toe or some kind of weird striping on, on the foot, the toe. So I'm not too worried about it, but I did think that was interesting note about the size and the length and whatnot. So I don't know how much longer I have to go. Let's see. Looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4 more sections. So I mean, not a ton. So it won't be that much longer, I don't think. But anyway, it is 5:41. I have a little bit longer to knit before I have to go to work. So I will check in with you before I leave. I have knit 0 stitches since I last recorded. It's literally been seconds. I went to go ahead and start the next row, and I realized I screwed up. I'm not picking out the last row, but I'm going to tell you what I did. So if you were doing the short leg option, it had you knit 1 more round in color E, and I did look at the directions. I just thought I still needed to knit that last round in color E and then go on to the long leg option. But apparently I was supposed to knit that last round in color A if I'm doing the long leg. That means I'm going to end up with some purl bump blips of wrong color, and I don't care enough to rip it out to start over. So that's annoying. I mean, it's clear, but not exactly clear, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to knit the next round and end up with some purl blips. It is what it is. It's apparently now my design feature. My alarm went off for work, so here we are. I did a seed stitch, and you'll notice I don't have purl bumps, and that's because I thought about it and I just decided to knit 1 extra round, just plain knit, of the pink. That's my color A. So my sock has 1 extra round. I like a long leg anyway. It'll be fine. And then there is the blue is just stockinette. 2 round stripes. That's just kind of ridiculous. More ends. And then this gray stripe at the very top is an eyelet section. Not that you can tell yet. So it looks like I have 16 more rounds to go to finish the longer leg. Before I finish the video, I am going to go back and count how many rounds are in the leg of the sock, because I'm curious to know. My normal socks that I knit, I do usually 80 rounds of leg. I'm guessing it's still less than that. But of course, I'm not done yet, so it's hard to kind of measure it against what I normally do. But yeah, it's probably still going to be shorter than my normal leg, which is fine. So I will see you today after I get done with work, and I think we're going to finish this sock today. That is my hope. I'm home from work and I've been working away on my sock, and the first sock, the long leg, is done. Of course, I have a million ends to weave in, so we're not done, but the knitting is done, which is exciting. But now we're going to come into the terrifying part, because I'm going to take my 40-inch circular and loop it through, slip the stitches on and give it a try on to make sure it's actually fitting, which I'm going to do before I weave in the ends, because if it doesn't fit and I have to rip it out, that will be a real pain with all the ends woven in. So that's my next step. But before I do that, let me just tell you, I think I counted how many rounds are on the leg, including my extra round that I did of the pink. And it is 74, I think, not including the cuff. So with the cuff, I'd have 94 total. And that is just a bit shorter than my normal sock, but I'm also using a slightly larger needle, so maybe lengthwise it's about the same. And the other thing I did do was I checked how much yarn I've used so far, and it's just shy of 17 grams. It's like 16.8. So that means for sock 1 and sock 2, I should use approximately 35 grams of yarn for clue 1. How many clues are these socks? Are they 4 clues? Because, I mean, obviously each clue probably isn't going to use the same amount of yarn, but usually the foot is at least this much, plus you add the heel and the toe, which obviously adds more. So that'd be 70, maybe 80, 90 grams-ish. We'll see, but that's my guess. So I guess I can understand why the larger sizes might run out of yarn. And I don't know why exactly. The fur rib stitch does take a bit of extra yarn. I don't know if brioche takes more yarn. Obviously it takes 2 colors, so maybe. The color that we've used the least of so far is color C, which is the gray. It was like less than 2 grams, which is crazy. And then this, I think, this, was it called Raindrop? Something like that, this purple. So a lot of the purple stitches so far have taken up a lot of yarn. And then I did extra rounds of my color B for the cuff. So I think I'll be fine. But anyway, I'm going to try it on and I'll let you know how it's fitting. We are outside in natural light, where hopefully you can see the stitches and the color a little bit better, but I don't know because I haven't tested this yet. Oh, can we see my leg? There it is. I had 0 problems getting the sock on, and it seemed to fit over my instep and everything fine, and it seems to fit my leg fine. So that means we can start weaving in ends. Isn't that a beautiful blue sky? Anyway, back to knitting. Okay, now that I know that the sock is fitting, it is time to tackle these ends. Look at this. If I counted correctly, there are 39 ends for one sock. I'm going to be here a while. But yeah, this is my goal, to get this done tonight. Well, hopefully, at least started. It does take a while to weave in ends. When I weave them in on my Cozy Memories, I feel like it's like a minute per end. And of course, that's putting the end on your needle and weaving it through and then cutting the tail and starting over. So I'm going to get started on that. I will give you an update when I have one, and hopefully I can get this finished today and get this video edited and uploaded. Probably not today, maybe by tomorrow. It's 5:30, so I have a little bit of time. We'll see how I go on these ends. My weaving party is done. Look at all those ends. I miscounted because obviously there would have to be an even number of ends. There are 40, but I did not weave in the very last one just because it's easier after I do the next bit. I am assuming that the next bit will be the heel, but I don't know that for sure. I'm trying to turn this around without losing stitches. So there is what the area that I wove the ends in looks like. I don't see any gaps or holes, which is exactly what I want. It looks like a nice solid sock. You know what I was thinking as I was knitting this earlier, before I wove in the ends, although I was thinking about the future of weaving in ends. This would be a really cool design for just two colors, like a light and a dark. White and black would be wonderful. And you could just carry your ends down the inside because you'd have enough for the Latvian braid and you'd have enough for brioche, and everything else is pretty much, each section is one color and all you would have to do is alternate. So I think that's a good idea. Um, I might, if I still want to knit this pattern when I'm done with my pair, I might knit a pair for my husband in just two colors and see what that looks like. Here are all my ends. There's so many. So like I said, I think the next step is going to be the heel. That just makes sense to me. And I just have a word of advice, a word of caution, if I haven't told you already. I knit last year's sock, and one of the options was a brioche heel, a two-color brioche heel. And I did it because I like knitting brioche, and it looked good. And since wearing that sock, it has stretched crazy. And my brioche gauge was much tighter than Steven's, and still it's stretched. That pair of socks is really just almost unwearable. So if he recommends a brioche heel, I personally caution you, urge you not to do it. I don't know. I mean, part of me says go for it, but I just hate for you to be disappointed like I was. So whatever, if I don't like any of the options, I'm just going to go with a slip stitch heel flap and gusset like I normally do. The next thing is Steven has been liking the patterns where you do the top of the foot and the bottom of the foot separate. So I don't know if that's going to happen for this, but I anticipate that as we go down the foot, we will be continuing these kind of stitch sampler stripes. That's my guess. So that is it. I'm going to wrap this up here. I will be casting on the second sock, but I'm not going to do that on video because we've already talked through it when I did number one. And even though I made that mistake and had to do the extra row of pink, I will do that on the next sock, and they should come out matching. So I will see you back here for clue 2, and hopefully I will have 2 socks that look just like this, but if not, I at least have one up to speed, and I will be able to pick up clue 2 when it comes out next Tuesday. So I'm very curious, how are you liking the pattern? Where do you think it's going? Do you think I'm on track? And if there's a brioche heel option, would you do it? I have so many questions. All right, I will see you in clue 2. Bye.